Stangibelisco here. I have a little observation about a storm that we're experiencing down in the Caribbean right now called Matthew. The date today is the 2nd of October. I believe it's the 2nd of October. I just got the studded tires put on the car today because of the impending snow. Not much, but it only takes an inch to make a road pretty slick, and we might get that, but they're not going to get that in the southeastern United States or Haiti or Cuba or any place like that. They're going to get a storm called Matthew. It's a Category 4 hurricane right at the moment, and because of its to me, I have a certain rapport with hurricanes. I have a certain vibe that I have with hurricanes, especially Atlantic hurricanes. And Matthew is telling me a bunch of Blarney. I've been using that word a lot lately, and I figured, that's a good word. Let's use it up. Let's use it till it's tired. Blarney. Matthew, the Blarney storm. And what I mean by that is that I don't have a clue, really, as to where this thing is going to go. Now, the forecast models seem to suggest that it will follow a path near or parallel to the eastern coastline of the United States. Well, there are two storms that come to mind in my historical annals in between these two little audio receptors here. Hurricane Betsy in 1965 looked like it was going to go on a path parallel to the Atlantic coast of the United States and maybe stay offshore altogether. And when it got somewhere up around South Carolina or thereabouts, it did a loop-the-loop. It did a 270 or almost a 270, and turned back around and skirted the southern portion of Florida, the extreme southern tip of Florida. Hurricane Betsy, 1965, was a Blarney hurricane because it pulled a fast one on everybody. This one could do the same sort of thing. Or it could be more like Hurricane David in 1979, and I actually lived in Miami during Hurricane David, and it came so close to Miami that you could see the eye on the radar, and it looked like it was almost on top of us. And I was down in Perrine, and all I saw was very rapidly moving clouds and a whisper of wind. And then David moved on up parallel to the coast and wreaked general mild havoc. I believe it did strike Cape Canaveral and gave it a pretty good blow, 100-mile-an-hour winds or thereabouts. But Matthew is a much more intense hurricane, and I believe that its intensity as well as its path are virtually impossible for this noggin to forecast. And I always find it fascinating when a hurricane pulls a stunt like this. But that makes Matthew a very dangerous hurricane because its intensity and or its path could take it just about any place. So everybody in the southeastern United States, particularly Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas, had better be on the lookout for some nasty weather or the potential for some nasty weather, and had better make their preparations just in case. Or the thing might move up the coast and then strike in Nova Scotia or maybe even in Maine. I have a friend who moved to Maine, and she might get a kick out of the weather along the coast during the near passage of a storm like that. But it could do any of those things. And we don't know right now, or I don't know. I don't have a clue. The forecasters seem to think they do. I do not. Except that it's not going to go into the Pacific or the Indian Ocean or turn into a Hurricane Patricia. Well, it could. It could turn into a Category 6 hurricane with 210-mile-an-hour winds and then take a sudden left turn and obliterate Savannah, Georgia from the map. We don't know, I don't know what it's going to do. Except that I should warn anybody who lives in the southeastern United States to watch this thing closely. For it is a Blarney hurricane. And a Blarney hurricane is the most dangerous kind. Stangibilisco, I'm sure glad I don't live down there anymore. I'll take the snow, thank you very much. Signing off for now. Until next time, so long.